We're going to just shoot the shit for a few minutes while other people get on here. But Dennis, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What's that in front of you?
And what is that, Dennis?
The belt I won on my wrestling match.
The Rock. Can you do the Rock eyebrow? Well,
If you have eyebrows.
If you had eyebrows, could you do the Rock eyebrow thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'll be a pro. So no, this is the belt for, I guess.
Show the audience.
I'm gonna get a little better view of it.
Are those real diamonds there?
Yeah, I already pried two out and replaced them.
A FAM is a Faster House Acquisitions Manager.
How did you win the belt?
I don't know. I think I had the most profit for the company the first quarter.
You
Do you know what it was?
No idea.
I do.
Okay,
How much was it?
You brought in $90,000 to the company in the first quarter.
I think 91, but close, right around there.
That's pretty good.
Prior to the pandemic.
Yeah, now we're in a pandemic.
Yeah, you're still rocking it during a pandemic. Yeah, you still do that.
We'll get into it, but you're still buying houses.
I'm going to be at 89 this month.
You did 38 in April to the company.
In 1 month.
Yeah.
During a pandemic.
I love it. I like it. I like it. So I wear this every night to bed.
We don't want to know what you wear to bed, Dennis. That is not this type of podcast. This is not this type of live, okay? We don't want to get kicked out.
That's impressive, though, Dennis. Congratulations on that belt. And wear it proudly. So you got 3 people trying to take it away from you right now.
Yeah.
They got to the end of June. Is that right, Lucas, for him to take it away?
Yep. So the second quarter, we'll give out the belt again, and we'll see if Dennis retains the belt.
I will.
Nice. Look, we got another out of country watcher. Do you know that guy?
What's up, Darren?
What's up, Darren?
Darren, how you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
Darren, if you were here, I think you would have taken the belt from Dennis.
Rachel, what did he say? I don't even know what this says.
What's up?
What's up, Darren?
Dudes?
What's going on, James?
What's up, James? Thanks for joining us. Hey, guys, if anybody's out there who wants to interact with us, we love that. So throw a question in the chat box or the comment box. We got Dennis here, who's a star buyer for Faster House that can answer your questions.
Yeah, he also owns 20 plus rentals now, right?
21 doors,
He
yeah.
owns 21 doors, and he's bought a lot of houses before and during the pandemic. So if you have questions about buying houses during all this, ask him. We got the expert on right over there in the corner.
Sam, what's that a picture of that they're not seeing?
Okay, all right. Well, I bought a house this morning, so I always like to show you guys what we're actively doing. So I got a house under contract this morning that I looked at 2 years ago, and Jason Diedeker, is a local wholesaler.
Shout out to Jason.
What's up, Jason? He's a great local wholesaler. He's been working the deal for 2 years now. I believe he paid.
That is persistence.
I believe he paid $2,000 out of his pocket to keep it from going into foreclosure before he even knew he was for sure going to buy it or not. So he's really been putting in a lot of time and effort. I looked at it 2 years ago. I signed the contract last night, but I said, let me go check it out in the morning to make sure it's in the same condition. And it was, last time I looked at it, it was in perfect condition. Like it was turnkey. It was turnkey. It was turnkey. And then we'll show you guys some pictures here, see if I can do this right. So this is what it currently looks like. It was in perfect condition. I'm kidding. It was
Did you
not.
change your price? Did
you offer?
Did you take that picture this morning?
I did, yes.
Wow.
So I'm obviously, guys, I was joking. It's not in perfect condition. Just wanted to show you guys some of the houses we come across. I counted 10 litter boxes in here. I'm only going to show you a few pictures. There's a guitar right by the furnace. And then just kind of showing you the condition of the house. It was not in the best shape.
You can say that.
Yeah, pretty gross. So anyways, we buy houses that are turnkey and ones that are not. So I just wanted to give you guys a little taste of some of the houses we come across as we're trying to fill up the live stream.
What are you going to do with that, Sam?
We're going to wholesale it.
Wholesale it.
Yeah.
We need a fabulous rehabber looking for a deal in O'Fallon.
Yeah, it's in O'Fallon. It's after you take all that stuff out, it's not going to be that bad of a rehab. It's just kind of gross right now.
What kind of ARV on that house?
I think it's $185,000 house. Pretty confident in that.
That's a great rehab
Yeah,
for somebody.
It is. It's a good house. The front doors doesn't lock, so if you want to go, just go stop online, open the front door. It's got a big condemned sign on the front door, so you won't miss it.
And that was super impressive, Jason Diedeker, for the persistence and the follow-up and doing whatever it takes to get a deal. Very impressed. Holy smokes. So, hey, let's get started, guys. So, my name's Brian Schroeder. This is Dennis Montgomery, Sam Prim, and Lucas Walls. Sam, Lucas, and I have our real estate business. Dennis works with us.
What's up, Jose?
Hey, Jose. In the St. Louis area, we have actually several businesses. We got a flipping business where this year we're going to buy and sell. Some, we're going to rehab some, but we're going to wholesale. There's about 182 houses is our goal. And the pandemic or virus isn't going to prevent us from doing that. We're going to keep on rocking.
We are. We're actually sitting 6 feet apart right now. It's going to come.
Objects on live stream are closer than they appear.
Does the camera still add 10 pounds? All right, let's keep going.
We have a hard money lending business, got about $10 million out to other local rehabbers and landlords. We have a rental portfolio. We all have rental portfolios. You guys got what, over 100 doors, 110, something like that? I got 123, I think, as of today. That's how many you got?
21 doors.
21
A
doors.
lot of doors up here on the
Yeah, a lot of real estate rental experience up here. We got traditional brokerage, which is rocking it. Matt Becker leads that show. He does freaking awesome. And it's amazing to me how many people keep listing their houses or buying houses during a pandemic, but keeps on rocking. And we got this education business. Rachel, you got a little banner on, what does that say?
Love it.
Want increase your business, want faster freedom through real estate? Join our coaching program. I love that. That's awesome, Rachel. Love it. All right. So anybody out there, we appreciate shares or likes or smash that bell button, whatever the heck that means.
That's not the right thing for that, but I guess on YouTube it is. But to hammer that point down, yeah, we have fun with this, and we feel like we give a lot of good information. So if you guys could please share it and ask questions, it'll be better for everybody. The more questions you guys ask, the more fun we have up here answering them, and the more someone can take away from this if they're watching it. So please share it and then ask questions and like it, and smash whatever bell you want if there's a bell out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to just hammer home that point that ask questions, because we do this for fun and entertainment, but we do this to help anybody out there that's newer to the real estate business that asks questions. So fill up that stream with some questions for Dennis or Sam or Lucas or any one of us. We can all take that. So market activity. Let's talk about market activity for just a little bit. So how have leads been for our flipping business this week? Hi, Doug Rube.
Hey, Doug.
What's up, Doug?
Welcome, Doug. All right, leads have been they've been picking back up. So as everybody knows that's watched us before, we kind of cut our marketing about a month and a half ago, and it kind of ramped it back up. So I think last week we had like 9 or 10 leads, or 2 weeks ago. Last week we had like 13 or 14. So they're starting to ramp back up. We usually shoot for 20 to 25 a week. So I would anticipate going forward we'll be around that 20, 25 leads a week. And if we're not, the bald guy over there is going to tell me about it, because he wants leads. He asks for leads every
Tell him
morning.
about them every day.
Yes. Even though he's bought, like 11 houses from our leads this year so far, he still wants more.
Greedy son of a
I want
bitch.
one a day.
So how have purchases been this week, Sam?
They've been good. We had 3 purchases in the last week, so that's pretty good. Our goal's
That's
4,
good.
so we're right there. I think last 3 weeks have been 4 purchases, 5 and 4, or 5, something like that. We've been around 4 to 6 purchases about the last month a week, so we're on track for that as well.
So business is pretty good. I mean, maybe a little bit down from where we
A tad.
typically be, but not much. How's sales been, Lucas?
So this past week was a little slow. Sold 1, but we also sold 1 again this morning. So that's good. So that's 2 for the week. We don't have any fresh rehabs on the market. We're putting 2 on the market next week. So that'll be a nice test to see where we're at still. And we're hoping those go fast. But everything we buy is at a great discount. So if you're looking for an investment property, whether it's a rental or a rehab, let us know. Let Phil Blackwood know, and he'll sell you guys a good deal, because we're selling them at great deals as well.
Awesome. Loans are pretty good.
There's a question for you, Brian.
All right, let's go to that.
Brian told me to kind of throw him off today, so that's what I'm going to do, guys. You want to answer the question?
Doug Rue, 1031 exchange, looking to sell 1 and purchase 3 to 4. Would you recommend BRRRR or turnkey? BRRRR or turnkey? So I got to think about this. So you want to do a 1031 exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to 1031 from 1, you got 1. It sounds like you're selling 1, going to purchase 3 or 4. When you sell that 1, you got to set up your 1031 exchange. So what a 1031 exchange is where you can sell a property and roll that into another property or multiple properties. The replacement properties have to be an equal or greater value than the house you're selling. The loan that you're taking on to the new properties has to be at equal or greater value than the one you're selling. And if you do that all right, you got to identify your replacement properties within 45 days of selling, and you got to close on them within 6 months of selling. So that's kind of the rules for the 1031 exchange. If you do all that properly, you don't have to pay capital gains. Actually, you roll that into your new property, so whenever your new properties sell, you would pay the increased capital gains. So it's a way to just defer paying taxes, which we like to defer paying taxes, right?
As long as possible.
As long as possible. So the question is, would you roll that into a BRRRR or a turnkey? Gosh, I feel like you could do either one.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, if you go the turnkey route, just make sure you're getting it at a discount of some sort. Don't pay 100% market. You know, get it some sort of discount, whether that's 10, 15, 20%, still get those turnkey properties at a discount.
Yeah, we always push using the BRRRR method or strategy as much as possible because it's a way to do it without money out of your own pocket. But something like this, it maybe makes a little more sense to go. I don't know that there's a wrong answer, but the BRRRRs, you get your money in and out pretty quickly. So
yeah, you gotta have. I agree 100% with making sure you're buying at a discount. We always want to buy at a discount. Sometimes it's a challenge. I've run into it being a challenge before to find the good replacement properties within that 45 days. I'm not sure if you already have identified replacements. Doug, feel free to let us know. But you do have to follow the rules. And if you got a lot of equity in your one you're selling, you got to make sure that equity ends up in your new houses. I'm just trying to think, you can't take any of the equity. You can't touch any of that equity. So it has to go in those new houses. So the BRRRR method may not be 100%. I mean, you still want to buy them at a discount. So I don't want to not say that. But you may not be able to roll. You have to leave some of that equity in there, at least at the purchase. Doesn't mean if you buy it and you own it for 6 months, you can't go back and refi it.
Yeah, 6 months, a year, 2 years. It could be an extended BRRRR if you're not getting it at this 25 to 20% discount that you need for a BRRRR.
Yeah, that's it exactly. So I don't know if we answered your question 100% there, Doug. I hope we did. If you got more to add to that, feel free to throw it in the chat box.
My goal is more to throw you off than actually answer the question. So, all right, we'll get back on track. What's up, Courtney?
Hi, Courtney. Where were we? Rental collection. Let's talk about that for just a sec.
Dennis,
so
how's your rental collection been?
Yeah, how you been doing so far?
Oh, it's been a journey.
All right, you got 21 properties.
Yeah, we have 7 single families and 7 duplexes.
How for April and May? How you been doing on your rent collection?
We had a lot of people leave in the duplexes last in April.
When'd you buy those, Dennis, those duplexes?
A few months ago, 2 months ago, I think.
January, I think it was, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, at the time.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah, beginning of the year. It has a lot of projects that need to be done.
You inherited a lot of tenants, and maybe not the best tenants. Not ones that you placed yourself.
Yeah, month to month with weird agreements on payments, like fixing the basements and not having to pay rent. So
yeah,
it's not my.
Taking over tenants can be difficult.
What I'm hearing you say is your rent collection for April and May may not have been the best. Is that accurate?
Well, the tenants we have better than we thought. And we had a couple people that, like, one called at the beginning. I mean, I think the first day of this month and said, "Hey, I can't pay rent this month, and I'm moving out today."
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
All right.
I was like, "All right, see ya."
You get to find the
Don't
ones
let the
that
door
are
get your
good.
way out.
So, but it's been, we learned. It's a learning lesson for sure.
Yeah.
So, it's been fun though, and I mean, fun in a weird way. So, kind of like getting kicked.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun, getting kicked. That sounds awesome. The reason Brian asked the question is, how much did you collect in April, Brian?
April, we collected 100% of our rent. In May, I just looked because I knew we were going to be talking about it. We're at 64% on the 7th of the month, which is exactly where we were in April. So I'm just curious to see how it rolls out.
That's good. I asked a question on Facebook yesterday, how many people collected rent. A lot of people have collected 100% and that, don't have quite as many doors, 4, 10, 15 doors. That's still great, but Brian has 124 doors and collecting 100% in April during all this is insane because that's well over $100,000. It's not like you're collecting 10 grand, you have to collect well over $100,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah, 119, I think we collected.
Yeah, so that is kudos to you guys because I think we were at like 95, 96. So not quite 100, but
so you have some that haven't paid April rent yet?
Yeah,
What are you doing in those scenarios?
just coaching them through, working them through, seeing if they can pay whatever they can, because we can't evict them right now.
Right.
We're working on payment plans. A lot of them we have paying on the 15th and the 30th or something like that. For the most part, rent was collected for, I'd say 96% during all this. We're pretty happy.
So 95, 96% is not bad considering there's a pandemic going on.
Yeah.
You guys got a lot of apartments and stuff. So
Yeah, we're at 68% so far this month, which is ahead of April and March. So
good.
So hopefully our communication is tight enough. We have noticed our single family houses, we get a lot, I think almost all of them, but 1 or 2 paid. We have 55 of those. And then our apartments are where we run into a little bit more. I think maybe that job base was affected a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing for us to keep talking about because I think a lot of people were worried about what all the media was saying about collecting rent and stuff. And in reality, it's not near as bad. Obviously we want the courts to open up so we can get back to normal, but rent collection isn't dramatically different than it was before. Maybe a little bit harder, but not dramatically different. All right, let's do a shout out to our trusted vendor this week.
nice. Who we shouting out?
We're shouting out Sherwin-Williams. So Sherwin-Williams, and I know so feel free to jump in, Luke, 'cause I know you've used them quite a bit in the past, but Sherwin-Williams is obviously a paint supplier here. I think they're nationwide. I think they've been around for like 100 years or something like that. I don't know exactly, but from my personal experience, I think they got fantastic paint. They got fantastic customer service, and I've been really happy with them. And they support our channel here, so we really appreciate Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah, and the pricing's fantastic. They don't really cater to the one-off, do-it-yourself for homeowners. But if you got a little rental business where you're doing or a little rehab business where you're doing a couple a year, or 5 a year, or 10 a year, they'll set up an account for you guys and get you excellent prices, as good or better than you can get at Home Depot with better quality paint.
Super quality paint, and their service is incredible. We can literally be in the morning getting everything ready and call them and tell them, you need a couple 5-gallon buckets of paint delivered to your job site, and they do it, no charge. And
Sometimes that day or in a few hours.
And they
I don't call them. I text the rep and say, hey, I need a 5-gallon wall paint. He knows the color, he knows the type. And
Who's your rep, Dennis?
Alex.
Yeah.
Rachel, can you put Alex's number in the chat box? And if you reach out to Sherwin-Williams, make sure you let them know that FasterFreedom sent you. And I think they'll even give you an additional discount because of that.
Yes, they will.
All right. So let's talk with Dennis a little bit. Is that all right?
You ready, Dennis?
Sorry, guys.
Have you ever been interrogated like this before?
I've never gone live on Facebook or social.
I was talking about like maybe you've been interrogated for a crime or something. No?
Yeah, I murdered somebody once and got away with it. But
Perfect. There you go. We'll call you OJ. All right, Brian, go ahead.
I was just looking in the chat box. Doug said he has 8 doors and he collected 100% of his rent in April and May already. Holy smokes, Doug, you're doing freaking awesome. That's great.
That is awesome. Like that picture.
I do
the
want to
shades
back up and
the
say
lake
we
views
are at
in the background.
100% for April.
You're at 100% for April now?
And, everybody that stayed is at 100%. Even the guys that moved out, we got some of the rent from them.
So you got some vacant doors, but
Yeah.
the people that are there,
The people that are there are paid, and everybody supposedly is paying this month. We're actually checking the mailbox today because our mailboxes are not at our house or we don't have an office, so we should be at 100%.
Nice.
Good work, man.
We're at 100% for single families right now.
Love it.
Good.
Awesome. So Dennis, you are a buyer for Faster House,
I am.
and you also have a portfolio of rentals. You and your
Brother-in-law.
brother-in-law do together.
Yep.
That's freaking awesome. How many?
Shout out to Brian real quick.
Yeah, Brian Hill, he's doing some appraisals right now, which hopefully they come back good.
Nice. He's
Nice.
the guy for the appraisals, not you.
I'm not organized, guys. So.
All right, so let's talk about your buyer position for a little bit. If we got time, we'll get back to the rental side. So how long have you been a buyer for Faster House?
No idea.
He doesn't. Yeah.
It's
March
been
of
like-
last year.
Yeah, a little over a year now.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it was March of last year.
But before that, you were the disposition manager for a couple years.
Yeah, I did disposition since 2017 for Faster House.
That's interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit. Do you feel like that doing dispositions for a year or two helped you in a buyer role, or?
Absolutely. Honestly, like I would say that if it was a perfect world, that would be the starting route into the buyer position.
Interesting.
And I think it's just, for me, I was doing acquisitions for myself before.
Yeah.
So I think that I got a lot of time spent on figuring out ARVs and rehab budgets, because before it got really organized, before Sam and Lucas were here.
What are you saying about me?
I got a lot of phone calls. Hey, what do you think this will sell for? Hey, what do you think it would take to rehab this?
Yeah.
So I got to do all that, and not that the buyers didn't know, the acquisition managers didn't know. I was their second opinion on a lot of stuff, so I got to be involved with a lot more.
Awesome. Well, that's really cool. How come you switched over to what do you like better, dispositions or acquisitions?
I like being out looking at houses more.
You like the deal, finding the deal.
Yeah, I do.
Why do you like that role better?
I'm not an admin person, and honestly, the dispositions.
No way.
Really? That's shocking.
I think the dispositions, as the buyers list got bigger and FasterFreedom started, and we got more of a staff that was buying houses, it became more of an admin job than a job where you're grinding.
Yeah.
I like the grind more than I like sitting at a computer.
He likes to grind, he likes to get kicked. You sound like you like a lot of weird stuff.
I don't like being bored.
I feel like everybody that's really excelled in that acquisitions role or as a buyer just loves finding the deal, loves that chase, or I don't know. How would you describe it?
I like negotiations, and I like finding the deal. And honestly, when I first started here at Faster House, we had 33 people on our buyers list. So it was still a finding the buyer. I had to go out and find the buyer. We didn't have them.
Yeah.
And now it's more of we have so many people that want houses, so it's great. So now when we're buying houses, I'm out finding the deal. I'm out finding the way to buy it. So same thing, just different, the opposite side, and it's a lot of fun.
What does it feel like after you get a house under contract? Are you generally like pumped up, excited, or are you worried, or what's it feel like?
Well, there's a couple things I really like. I love when I get a lead in, and I haven't got leads lately, but
Shots fired.
I get excited when I get a lead. That's good. And that's exciting. It's like, all right. When we're in the office and I hear Tammy take the phone call, it's like, go to me. So it's fun. And then when you get there, it's you get to mirror people when you're in the house. Like you get to build a relationship really quick. So when you actually get that deal done, it is exciting. That's the most exciting part. So I don't even pay attention to when they get sold or anything like that.
You get the deal, it's exciting, and then you're like, crap, I hope I bought that right.
Yeah.
That's how I get super
I don't
excited.
usually feel that way, actually,
There you go.
until it sits on the board for a few weeks. And then I'm like, okay, maybe I messed up. So.
But you got a good mentality. Like as soon as that thing sits for 3-4 weeks, you know it's not the hottest deal in town, and you're smart enough to be like, let's move this thing.
Yeah.
Even if we break even or take a small loss, let's get it moved on to the next.
Break
more
even.
profitable.
I never say take a small
All right.
loss.
I've never seen you take a loss. You're right.
No, I've taken the losses. My very first deal was a loss, and it sucked. So.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about mirroring. Can you talk a little bit more about how you work with sellers? Some of maybe how your negotiation style or your offer style or anything along those lines. Maybe get some tips.
Yeah, my goal, and every time I go into a house, is come out with a contract. And I didn't do that this last week, and I lost a house in Troy because I didn't do that. I know for a fact if I would have just had the dude call his sister, and I probably would have walked out of it.
Yeah.
With that contract. And instead, he sold it to a neighbor for more. And, I can't compete with the neighbor. They're not rehabbers. They're not investors. They're neighbors. So I should have walked out of there. So my mentality every time I go into a house is to figure out their personality. And if they're Jews, I'm Jew. And when I say Jew, I mean the dice is Jewish. You're a Jewish person. You're a Christian person. You're a Muslim.
If they're Jewish.
Jewish.
If they're an athlete, you're an athlete.
If you're an athlete, you're an athlete.
If you're a father, you're a father.
Exactly. I mirror them. I never changed my religion, so just so you know. But you want to relate to them. And yesterday I went to a house in Florissant and immediately the guy reminded me of my grandfather. Like, it was awesome. And I'm not going to cry. So my grandmother died yesterday, and it's tough. So, that's where my relationship came in. Like, I immediately, as I'm sitting down, it's like I was talking to my grandpa. So it was that's what I do. So.
Yeah, real quick, I think you said a good point there. You like to come out of the house with a contract, which is great. That's your style. But how long do you think it took you to get to that point where you're confident enough in a deal to offer on the spot?
I think the confidence comes 100% from your research beforehand. If you go into a house, and there's been times where I've gotten a call and they're like, hey, I got to come down there right now. So I'll call you or Sam or somebody else to get that information. It didn't take long after being in this position to do that. I think I really started doing that. That's not everybody's style, but it's a lot. Like Philip Vincent is on here, and that is his thing. He's like, come out of the house with a contract. So once I started doing that, your success rate goes so much higher. If you walk out of that house, somebody else is coming in behind you, and they're going to leave with the contract. So I don't think it really took a long time after realizing that's the best route to go.
I know how long it took. As soon as you lost your first one that you could have bought, if you offered, you're like, all right, next time I'm offering.
I know the 3 houses that I have lost that I know, and actually 4 now after the Detroit one, I know that I could have bought. I've lost them to a lot of the bigger name wholesalers here in St. Louis, and I know who they were. And if I would have just stayed in that house, even if it gets awkward feeling and you feel like you're just intruding and you're sitting on their couch, like, make it not awkward. But I know those 4 deals that I lost because of that.
I think it's a good correlation. We don't have the stats on it, but the longer you spend in the house, the more likely you are to come away with the contract. If you're in and out in 10 minutes, probably not going to get it signed. If you've been there, if you're there for 2 hours talking, connecting, having conversations, digging into the personal lives and why and everything, and not just talking about the house, talking about them and just listening, man, you got a really good chance if you're there for 2 hours.
I hardly ever talk about the house. Yeah. I mean, unless there's like a foundation issue or you ask questions like how old the roof is, stuff like that, but I don't talk about the house because the house is, you can walk in and you're taking pictures. You have to develop that relationship. You're not talking somebody into it. You have to figure out that issue as to why they want to sell their house right there. So.
It sounds like it's just about building rapport and building that connection.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So awesome. So you've been with Faster House as a buyer for about a year, a dispo guy for a couple of years before that. What was your journey prior to Faster House? How did you get into the real estate business or the wholesaling business?
You should have asked me that question yesterday, so I could have prepared.
You can't remember your life
story.
It's a tough one.
So wait. So I went mountain bike with Brian last week, and he asked me that question.
So you should definitely.
I already got it. I'm ready to roll. So I realized that when I didn't know what money was. No one in my family ever talked about money. But my best friend, when I was a teenager, his dad owned real estate, and I worked on his properties. He taught me stuff. And he tried to talk me into buying a house when I was 18. And my mom said, "You're absolutely insane. No." And she was probably right because I was, right before the crash. But I knew that I wanted to be in real estate. So I went into plumbing to know how to work on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I got laid off in plumbing, worked for other people that own properties, did property maintenance, and then went to work at a hospital. Realized that the supervisor at the hospital, when I was interviewing for a job for a supervisor position, was going to start at $56,000 a year and be in charge of second and third shift. I'm like, that doesn't add up. Like, can't really make a living like that.
That's not what you wanted, is work second and third shift and $50,000.
No, heck no. I mean, there's shift differential pay, they told me. So anyway, so I started my own maintenance company and worked in the evenings after it. Ended up working for a property management company, quitting the hospital 9 to 5, which sucked, by the way. Not the hospital quitting because I couldn't pay my bills. But
you had the courage
I had to do it.
jump out on your own.
Yeah, and then I asked every question, talked to every person I could. Met Corey Boyles, learned how to wholesale.
Shout out to Corey Boyles.
And Rick Hine. Rick Hine was, honestly, he walked into my office with a contract, and I realized that you can make money really quick wholesaling and not having to do a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
Shout
out to Rick Hine too. And I think that's super, what you just said is super important. Just find other people that are successful in this business and hang out with them. How did you meet Corey or Rick, and how did you able to start making a connection with them so you could learn from them?
So I was doing property management at Provident, and Rick came in, and he was a wholesaler that was the connection. He had out-of-state buyers, and he connected them and just JV'd them. That's where I realized I needed to do that. While I was working on doing JVing, I was also a real estate agent, and I met Corey at a house. Corey said that you guys have a buyer's club. I came to the buyer's club. I walked out of that door. I called my buddy. I was like, hey, I got to work for a company like this. His advice was to start a company like this. But
Corey's was?
No, the guy that I was talking to.
Oh. The guy at the club?
Yeah. So, instead I started hanging around, and you called, and that offered me a job after I was doing this on my own. I was doing deals for about 6 months. Corey was my coach. And I said no first. And then I was broke in February or January. I can't remember. I started the same day Rachel did. So, I came on, and it's been awesome since. So.
Awesome. So there's a couple of things. You guys got anything? But feel free to jump in whenever you feel like it. But one thing I heard in there, which I hear so often, I don't know, we got 20-some people that work here. I see it feels like almost half of them have come in through our club in some way.
Yeah, I have.
More than that. So Cam came up to me and said, hey, dude, he asked me how much I made. And I know Cam from outside of this, and I told him how much I make. I'll tell everybody, not on here, but and he's like, what? He's like, I want a job with it. I was like, you should. And then now he's working starting this week at our company.
Shout out to Cam.
Yeah, I think that's what we promote at our local meetup, which is called Faster House Buyers Club. Is we open every meeting up with, we're trying to create a community of like-minded real estate investors. So if somebody comes and hooks on and is like-minded like us, why wouldn't we want to hire them if they're like-minded like us? So
Darren throws up there, I always had confidence in Dennis's abilities. And I remember Darren is sitting on a beach in Cabo right now. And he used to be Darren's a legend in the St. Louis real estate investing world. Yeah. And he used to work for us in the role you're doing right now. And Darren was one of the first people that told me that Dennis is going to be freaking awesome at this. And he had a ton of confidence in you from the beginning.
I think Darren was doing dispositions before I came.
He was.
I learned a lot from Darren.
Say gracias.
Gracias?
Yeah.
I don't speak Spanish, sorry.
Yes.
Rachel does.
Yeah. Speaking of the people that came on, so just so you guys know, I've been here for longer than Sam and Lucas, but Sam and Lucas were one of our top buyers. Now they're here running this show. Dusty was one of our top buyers. Now he's the acquisitions guy. Ariel was one of our top buyers. Now she's working with Suzanne as her
Sales and marketing.
Sales and
on the
marketing.
lending, yep.
So it's like people that are around our company end up working here. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
So how about, do you got a favorite deal or that you've had over the years you've been doing this? Anything that sticks out?
This is really lame, but Five Zeus is probably my favorite deal I've done.
How is that lame? Explain to me how a $40,000 profit
It was so easy. How much was it?
It was 40 total before we made our.
We did a YouTube video on it. So if you're on Facebook or on our YouTube, go check out the video on our YouTube channel, FasterFreedom. Subscribe, but check out the video. It's on there.
But why was this your favorite? Tell us.
Well, it is truly an example of what we're helping people, and I had to get my mind around that when I started, because you're buying a house at 70% of value, minus repairs. Zeus, we bought at 75%.
Yeah.
But it's how is that benefiting somebody? But this lady truly, that's what she needed. She needed to get out of the house.
Yeah.
She didn't owe more than that. She was still making money. She told us what she wanted. She told us what she needed. We told her how we buy. And that was another deal that we got done. Instead of like letting other investors come in, because she had other investors, we got it done in the driveway. Like I went out and I said, call whoever you have to call, but we're signing this contract, and she did it.
So I like to always do. I love stories and I love details. So
Yeah.
do you remember what her motivation was or what her scenario was?
I believe her husband passed away.
Yeah, I think so too. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her
So
husband passed away.
and so why was she wanting to move or needing to move?
She wanted to downsize, and she was moving to a villa. So
Okay. And so she had plenty of equity in it. So getting the last dollar wasn't as important as just making the process super easy.
yeah, she had stuff that she wasn't going to take with her. She had issues that you could visibly see on the house. The fence, the concrete was the thing that scared her the most. There's other things.
She had a patio that was like really,
bad.
yeah. What was the biggest issue with it? It was
It
just,
just sank in. And I didn't do the rehab, so did we mud jack it or replace it?
We replaced it.
Yeah. So
but that was just something in her mind that was an overwhelming burden that she didn't want to take on.
yeah,
And there's probably a lot of memories involved in the house that she
she
probably
didn't
wanted
want to
to.
throw away stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the garage. Like the garage was all guy stuff.
Guy stuff, and she didn't. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we definitely provide the service because I would say, I mean, at least over half the people that we buy houses from give us great reviews. I mean, they're ecstatic that we're helping them out in their situation because a lot of times it's one of their only few options is to sell to us.
And I'm one of those guys. I'm not a salesperson. Maybe people say I am, but I go in. I have the comps, so I give you the real comps. I give you the real numbers. I write down everything on the back of a piece of paper. They would like me to use a program, but I use pen and paper. And I write down how much it's going to cost on the back. And at the end of it, I add it up, and that's my number. So there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no I just threw out a number. And so they could see that. And she really appreciated that because she's like, you can get this done for this amount. Yeah, this is how much. And
So you write it all out on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Okay, what you're going to sell it for, what your discount is.
I don't
what
write what
the
we're
rehab
going to
is.
sell it for. I guess ARV, what it's
Yeah,
valued.
you do, yeah.
And we use the average ARV, and I tell them that something like, there was a house that sold for $300,000. That's the same as yours, but everything else sold for $215,000. So we're gonna go with $215,000. We're not.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Quite the swing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a great story. I really appreciate it. Along the lines of stories, what's that? Can you think of like Sam's deal here, a crazy one, something that was just a wild and crazy story that you've had? Any unusual sellers, like really weird
I'm gonna
houses?
need Sam's help on that because I have a really good memory for 5 minutes ago. So,
Yeah,
I don't know that I have anything that was been super crazy that I could think of. So
Yeah, I mean, selling one of Corey's deals back in the day, trying to sell Bitterfield was pretty crazy.
yeah.
With I know it wasn't a deal that you worked with the seller, but she came back around a lot and wanted to know what we're doing with all our clothes, 14 dumpsters.
Yeah, so Bitterfield was a reason why it's hard to buy porterhouses, but that was definitely the most interesting sale. And so this is a house that one of our acquisition guys, Corey, bought, and it had, I think he budgeted for 12 dumpsters and 10 dumpsters. Rachel said 10, she's over there.
Yeah.
10 dumpsters, and I think we stopped at 16.
Yeah.
And it still needed more. So we actually found a bathroom we didn't know existed. So that's how bad this house was.
Which pushed our ARV up.
It did, but 16 dumpsters is a lot of money. So,
Yeah, it is. There's always interesting deals out there for sure.
but they made a profit on that one. They did sell it for a profit, the guys we sold it to. So
Good. We did not.
Yeah,
we took a loss on
we
it.
took a loss.
But the person we sold it to made a profit. Good.
So how has your role changed since this virus situation? I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out what's going on with this and where we're going. So you got any feelings? Are you doing anything different?
So I have a mask in my car, I have gloves, I have hand sanitizer, but it's really mirroring again. So like yesterday we went to the house and I pulled up and I know this guy's old and but they didn't want us to wear masks or gloves. Like they were just like, come on, they don't want to shake our hands and we're kind of doing
Fist bumps.
Are you shaking hands if they reach out?
I did shake the old man's hands, but you don't
Sometimes
reject
it's hard not to, isn't it?
I'm in his house, and he told me to come in. So,
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't, and I hated that because there's probably people on there right now that are like, yeah, you just killed him. But
I don't think anyone's thinking that, Dennis.
but yeah, I did shake the old man's hand.
So what has changed since the virus? So you bring masks with you bring gloves with you, but maybe you're not using them if the sellers aren't asking.
Yeah, it's really again mirrored. I had one guy say that it's ridiculous, you don't need to wear that, and so I took it off and I was just holding it the whole time because again, it's relating with the guys that you're walking with. So, and then there's another lady that like she gave me hand sanitizer when I walked in, and I had a mask on.
Whole time, you never took it off?
She stayed, the whole time. She's clearly stayed at least 10 foot away from me the whole time. And
Did you buy that house?
I did not buy that house. So I'm still following up with her. She's one that they said they're probably going to make a decision after this COVID mess. And that's something we're hearing a lot. They're waiting for this COVID mess to pass.
Yeah. Have you asked anybody to send pictures of the house? Like if they don't want you, has anybody said they want to sell but don't want you in? And you say, can you send me pictures so I can give you initial offer and then get in? Have you done any of that?
A couple. So,
Okay.
and they've sent them and they haven't been deals. And so we haven't been able to do anything with them. But pictures, pictures usually can get pretty close. Me and Lucas almost made an offer on pictures the other day, and that was a really good photographer.
Glad we didn't.
It looked better in photos than in person.
Man.
Is that it?
Even the agent was like, yeah, I have a really good photographer. I'm like, yes, you do. So,
All right, George has got a question. How do you find your deals? So you want to talk about that at all, Sam?
Yeah, a little bit. So like we said earlier, our goal is to buy 175 to 200 houses a year. And the goal is half of them come from, we have 4 full-time acquisition guys. Dennis is one of them, he's kicking butt. The goal is for half of those deals to come from their networking. Dennis is talking to agents all the time, emailing agents, going out talking to wholesalers, talking to different people, talking to property management companies. So a lot of different ways. Use your connectors in your social sphere of influence and tell everybody that you're looking to find deals or you pay for deals or whatever. So that's how we find half of them. It's all on these 4 guys to each find 25, 30 houses themselves through their own sphere of influence. And the other half come from our marketing. So we do a lot of different things. We do Facebook marketing. We do SEO is our number 1. We do a lot of direct mail. We're always experimenting with different things. Like we're doing a little bit of outbound calling right now. We got a artificial intelligence company that's kind of trying to help filter and give us leads. So we do a lot of different ways to find leads. We have the core online advertising and direct mail. And driving for dollars are kind of our 3 pillars. But we're always trying new things and experimenting. My goal is to get them as many quality leads as possible. I don't want to give them 30 leads to every buy, but we can't just, try to just get a few, 10 quality, like 100% buys a month. So our average right now is a little over 10 leads per buy. So my goal is to get them each 20 leads a month. That should be 2 buys if the math's right, and to kind of keep it in that range.
So I know your favorite thing is just getting leads from Sam and then
I
going
like
out.
SEO leads. That's what I like.
But outside of those leads that are just handed to you, what is your favorite way to find the deals through your sphere?
I like email to agents.
Email and agents.
Emailing agents, emailing wholesalers, and I think you can do a lot of them really quick, and if people have a deal, and they see a thing that says, hey, I'm looking for a house, they're probably going to send it back to you. So when you get on the phone, I also like, once COVID stuff is over, I love having lunches and talking to people, because you always buy, if you sit down with somebody, you're going to buy something from them at some point. So.
Awesome. Well, guys, anything else to add, Lucas or Sam or Dennis, before we wrap up today?
Oh.
I think I'm good.
Me too.
Appreciate you guys coming. We do this every Thursday at 11:30.
11:30.
Watch us on Facebook
I want
Live.
to buy your
Watch
houses,
us-
by the way.
He wants to buy your house. Watch us on YouTube Live and subscribe to our channel if you have not, please.
Yes. Good seeing everybody. See you next Thursday, 11:30 a.m.
All right.
Take it
See you
easy.
guys.
See ya.